in August 2020, and I saw it happening globally. Suddenly, from hospitalizations and mortality, they went on to cases. They started talking about infected cases. And I was like, now we're going for a wrong turn. Because most of the population by then, the virus was circulating. A lot of people were positive, were COVID positive, but they didn't experience symptoms, or they had a mild flu, or even some tested positive, but didn't have any proof that they were infected. The so-called false positive PCR tests. So suddenly we weren't talking about a few hundred hospitalizations and a few hundred deaths. No, we were talking about 100,000, few 100,000 people infected. And that's what I saw happening around me. People were in total panic after August 2020, because suddenly the figures were blown out of proportion, because we were not looking at the facts anymore, but at tests. What's your take on that?
You are right. I mean, I found it so. I was also perplexed. I mean, I had been an epidemiologist in the armed forces, and I had been investigating a number of outbreaks among troops, among soldiers, because we have got very large army. We have got large training centers. Recruits come from all parts, so they are frequent. We had gone in, I think, 2000, almost 2020, and in my team was a microbiologist. So there was an outbreak of pneumococcal pneumonia in Wellington, in that training center, Madras training center. Large number of 30, 40 simultaneous clusters and all that. So I had gone, with me was a microbiologist, and he wanted the samples, blood culture and all. I said, why don't you take that throat culture? Here you will get pneumococcus, streptococcus pneumonia. He says many people carry it. Those are not cases. I mean, I still remember that. He says, so many people, as a microbiologist, I can pick out anything from your throat. I don't label you as a case. I require a blood sample that whatever the symptoms the patient is having is due to that microbe. Throat, so many, they are commensals, he said. Even streptococcal pneumonia also, many people carry it and commensals without. So those, I won't define it as a case. I still remember that. And I was very surprised when, I mean, streptococcal pneumonia is a bacteria which is causing that outbreak is going on. And still he said, I will not label it as a case. I will only label those cases which are positive in blood culture, or a pleural tap, or a transtracheal from the deep in the lungs. Throat. I was really surprised when they were taking the nasal swabs and this and there. You can pick up anything, streptococcus or any meningococcus. You can raise a panic anytime like this. So I was really surprised. And I don't know, you also must have come to that certain incidents, like in New Zealand and in USA, person has died of a gunshot wound. And when they did RT-PCR positive, they labeled him as a COVID death.
That's what we saw, and my colleagues that were
traffic accidents.
Yeah. If they were positive with COVID, they got declared as COVID disease.
They changed the basic epidemiological foundation. Epidemiological foundation is that starts with the death certification, and the death certification also they distorted. I mean, the cause of death is, a person may have so many comorbidities, and immediate cause of death may be something else. This may be incidental. As you said, people have got the widespread virus. It has spread. Everybody is carrying it in their throat. And they are not only going for the live virus. They were going for the remnants, the fossils of the virus. I mean, this is something, I mean, and I am really concerned now. The same thing they are going to do with the trials, the BCG trials, which has the vaccine, which has never worked. For past 50 years, it has never worked for tuberculosis. Now they are restarting the BCG trials in adults. They are trying to use those same diagnostics in for tuberculosis. I'm really worried what they are going to do now, because so many of us, we were taught that infection does not equal to disease, particularly in tuberculosis. So many of us carry the dormant stage, and only few.
But what do you think is pushing this? You know, and you were talking earlier on as well that the media